Sorry about that, y'all. I don't know why that happened.
Streamlabs seemed to think that we were still going, but
yeah, it did. That was strange.
Now we're here. So we're back. Thanks for hanging on. We just really wanted to show y'all what true isolation felt like. So that us, the players, could really get into character.
Yes.
I missed you.
Thanks, everybody. So aspect. So we're going with this was. We have now chosen to leave after it being first like a mandated thing, and then we were like, no thanks. So what would that aspect be? So we're looking for like a word or two that we can reference as like a cornerstone of our thing. Like it could be, or even a phrase like something like, oh, like we are safer apart, or like something like that, like something that we can hearken to as a cornerstone of like our society that has to do with the fact that we left because we had to leave.
So is this one about us and what made that a requirement, or
creating the aspects, everything we do for the rest of the game is going to tag one of these three aspects. So every word we make going forward is going to relate to one of these three aspects. So it's basically like the three biggest pieces of the isolation. So this piece is whatever we end up choosing for like the actual word or phrase is going to encapsulate the idea of like we chose to leave because we are safer and better off apart from the world, is basically what we're trying to encapsulate. I'm just going to keep doing this until I think of a word.
Right.
So that's what we're
something like secluded evolutionists.
That's interesting.
Do you want it to rhyme? No, this is a legitimate question. Yes.
Let's hear it.
I would love it to rhyme.
Yeah.
Evolution through seclusion.
Yes.
Ooh. I like that, because then it sounds like a tenant, or like
we're not a
like
cult.
A strong belief. We're not a cult. We're in isolation. Not a cult. That's also a big thing that comes up in basically every game of Dialects. Like,
we're not a cult.
We just need it to be known. We're not a cult.
I mean, this one isolation. This backdrop has some religious tones in the writing.
A lot of them do.
Bit.
But we're not a cult. Not a cult. So it's evolution through seclusion. Did I? Nope. So let me. So I put that over here. So that's one of our aspects. All right. So that's aspect 1. Aspect 2 is more than walls. What special property about the compound keeps us secure? So this is like physically what keeps the compound isolated.
It's at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, you cannot even get into Rapture territory with me. I will go off.
I was going more like the comic book direction.
Oh, I know. I went like, are we going to Rapture? Let me tell you about how much I love BioShock. So yeah, or this is more than walls. So we do have walls, but this could be something like we have, like there are people who live in the isolation, like whose job it is to maintain some kind of magical force field. Like it could be something like that. It could be that we're at the bottom of the ocean, or we're like floating in the sky. BioShock Infinite. Or like we're in some weird like time rift that doesn't exist really anywhere.
Can we combine some of the things you said? Can we be on like a mobile airship that is also a submarine?
Galaxy brain.
All terrain.
What's the name of the one from Avengers? Like the Valiant or something?
Oh, like the Quinjet? I don't know what the name of the...
It's the aircraft carrier that flies.
Yeah, from the first one.
I don't know.
So it's kind of like we just like move where we need to be most safe.
I mean, maybe that's why we move, because if we were in one place, people could probably find us.
If that's what keeps us safe, and if it was something where it was like we decided to just leave on our own before we could be affected by some kind of mandatory isolation, then it's like, you know, we're doing this on our terms, fuckers, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, but then like as soon as people start poking around, it's like, and it's time to move again.
Yeah.
Like nomads.
Like,
yeah.
Right?
Pack it up.
Like just on a big old ship.
We're airborne in 20. Everybody tie your stuff down.
Right?
That would be terrifying.
Right?
I'm into it.
I like it. I think it's cool.
All right, so...
If we
So
originated as like a government kind of thing too, then it's like maybe we seized the airship when we decided to go off on our own.
Ooh,
Or
like maybe
early on, before we were fully secluded, we were going around and rescuing.
Ooh, I like that.
All right,
Maybe that's why we don't have to anymore, because we can't find any more that we need to rescue.
Well, that's interesting.
Oh.
Now we're alone. We're like, we don't want to be like, we tried to help you and we tried to do this stuff for you, and then no.
I like that.
Now we don't even look anymore.
Fam. So that's like, so it's something, we're like almost like nomadic.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, I'm trying to think of how that could be like an aspect of society. It's just like never stay in one place for too long, but something more succinct and cool sounding than that.
I mean, can it literally just be nomadic helicarrier?
I mean, it can be nomadic helicarrier. All right, let me put this.
I mean, they can't all rhyme, can they?
No, they don't, and they don't need to, and they don't. Yeah. So yeah, we have a nomadic helicarrier.
I'm into it.
Yeah, well, of course, helicarrier is spelled wrong. It's not a word. All right, so we've got our nomadic helicarrier. All right, so the third aspect is entirely up to us to decide. So we have so far that we are safer and can further evolve by being alone, and we are nomadic in order to preserve that. We don't stay in one place too long because there are threats to us that we don't want to be around. So what's the third defining feature of our society? Like what is the other thing that's very, very important to us living on this giant ship? And it can be, I mean, yeah, it can be literally anything, whatever we think is going to be interesting to make a huge facet of our isolation.
Could be something
like it could
about
be
just
something
like reinforcing like we're like, you know, we chose this or something. So if, you know, it gets to be an issue where like maybe people want to like leave, then that's like that whole kind of thing. I don't know. I guess that kind of always would be, wouldn't it?
And we can loop that into the evolution through seclusion too, to be like, as like a reminder, like, no, like Truth. We are, like, it could be something related to like, if we do all have mutant powers, like it could be something related to that, like related to like the people and not the isolation itself. Like if we make the third aspect something about the inhabitants of it, could be a fun angle to take, because then we can dive into facets that deal with the people.
I like it.
Yeah.
Sure.
What about that? Is it just like, is it about honing your powers? Is it about like controlling your powers? Is it about,
I mean,
like what does life look like on this giant helicarrier
Right.
full of mutants?
Isn't having the powers good? Couldn't it just be varied mutant powers and like call it there? That's gonna impact life a lot already. People,
but it's
do
we want to encourage people to use and explore them? Is it like, no,
it's
they're
useful
too dangerous,
it's useful to pare it down, because as we go on and we create these words, they're going to link back to one of the aspects, and our character creation is going to be incredibly tied. So like when we get to character creation, like the big part of character creation is you pick some of these aspects that you relate to very strongly and some that you don't relate to, and that kind of informs your character. So it can be something related to powers, but if we need to decide if like our aspect is like hone and perfect your gifts, or if it's like you have the potential to destroy a bunch of things, so you need to be careful and control it type of thing. Like it depends on what angle we want to take. Like, do we want to do it as like these are gifts and we should use them to better ourselves and our society, or is it like we were set apart to keep everybody safe and we need to be safe from ourselves type of thing? Like, what's more fun?
That's the important question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's more fun? What's more interesting to explore?
If we removed ourselves, it might as well be that we just embrace it. Otherwise, it'd be if we were more with society, I think it'd be more of like keep it to yourself. But if it's just us, and for example, if we're in a helicarrier and we're in the air, like unless you are worried about hitting a bird or the clouds, go ahead, throw fireballs. Like,
yeah, I kind of like that like angle.
Wolf child
too. Yeah,
maybe it's something like live your gifts or something.
Ooh,
yeah, I like that.
I like that. Yeah, cool. So that's what. So we are living our gifts.
Definitely not a cult saying.
We are not a cult. We are a gifted group of people living in a helicarrier / submarine, hiding from the government. It might be a cult, actually.
Who believe in evolution through seclusion.
We might.
I forgot it was a submarine too for a minute there.
No, we're fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, the mutants with water-based powers gotta feel welcome too.
Yeah, you get.
Hello, welcome to my helicarrier for gifted students.
And yes, you better believe that during character creation, everybody needs to decide what their mutant powers are, because this is very important to me to know.
I don't even know yet.
Right.
Oh, I already know.
We'll figure it out as we go. So the next step. Oh my god, I know. I love X-Men so much.
I have a superpower chart open for no reason, so I'm just gonna figure that out. Keep going.
For no reason. No, it's fine. So now that we have our aspects, so we have the cornerstones of our society, now we get to answer the community questions. So generally speaking, you go around and each person answers one, but I kind of like to do it a little more collaboratively. So what I like to do is we'll read the questions, and whoever's question it would have been will get like final say on it, but we will collaboratively kind of discuss and go around. So the first one is, where did we come from? How did we come to know one another? So we kind of gleaned that we were all part of some kind of government trying to make superheroes. Or was it superheroes, or were the government trying to make like super soldiers?
What's the difference?
Super
That's fair. Like,
yeah,
is
I
that
kind
what
of
we're...
like that idea,
Yeah.
especially if this all started in like the 80s. It definitely could have all like been some crazy Cold War like.
I would say,
thing.
yeah, some government's trying to make a bunch of Captain Americas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, nope, all you get is this guy over here glows in the dark sometimes.
Yeah, this
You're like,
person
"Ugh,
weirdly good at making knots. I don't know. We never taught him.
you win some, you lose some, but this person can fly and see through walls, so all right, yeah, so we all, or yeah, because it's only, the thing about this one too that's interesting from different backdrops is this is just one generation. Like, this has taken place over 20 years, so it's not like, oh, my grandmother was made by the government and now I'm here. Like, this is all, like, all of us we're just in it. So yeah, so we were all created by the government as some kind of Cold War fighting superheroes. Some of us were probably more effective than others, but you know, everybody serves a purpose, at least on our giant helicarrier that we will probably need to name. All right, so the next question, so I think, so Sam is below me, so Sam will get final say on this one, but we can all
Oh, actually,
kind of
I'm
discuss.
below you, I guess, in Zoom. Sure.
Oh,
Nat is below
is
you
it
on
changed
the
on...
overlay.
Oh,
Hi.
because we re-upped it. You were... oh, that's right, yeah, sorry. So Nat, you will get final say on this guy.
Hi.
What does the compound look like physically? Why is maintaining it so difficult?
Well, you ever heard of a helicarrier?
No, please tell me more.
Well, it's a flying thing with a lot of mechanical pieces, and it requires maintenance, otherwise it explodes, crashes, and we all die and or drown.
Yep, that seems not much left, not much meat on that bone. Otherwise, yeah, it's like hopefully we've got people who are skilled mechanically or have figured it out.
Yes, agreed.
All right, so the next one we'll send back now to Sam for real.
Okay.
Where do members of the compound spend private time? Are there communal spaces?
Ooh, okay. So since we've got the whole like air or sea helicarrier going, I'm assuming we've got almost like, pretty much. I'm legit just picturing the Avengers helicarrier at this point.
Yeah, that's sorry, legally distinct Avengers helicarrier.
The
All right,
Schmavengers.
is the word helicarrier
Is
copyrighted?
that copyrighted? I don't know. If it's not, I'm sure Disney will try.
Well, we'll think of like a name for, I mean, or we can just call it the compound.
The compound.
But
yeah, so I imagine pretty much like the interior will have probably sort of a communal bunking system. Maybe family units or something would have like private cabins, and then people not in family units would have like a sort of shared dormitory type space. And then, it's sort of like you have to carve out your own specifically private space with what you're given. But for communal spaces, there would definitely, I think, be like a communal meal space. And then, people would have, I bet they've got a sort of like recreational training thing like on top of the compound for when we're above water, and then everybody just sort of battens down the hatches when we go underwater, and we just sort of have to make do with what we got.
Nice. That's not, yeah, I have no problems with any of that. That sounds wicked cool. Like, all right, Gabe, here we go.
Good.
For whom is life hardest in the compound and why? Yes, it's hardest for Nat. You've spoken it into existence.
I feel like the older group, because they probably experienced more of a life outside of being stuck in the compound, while the younger and newer generations, they're used to this, so it's not as hard being in. It's having a perspective of your day-to-day life versus feeling like you've been in isolation.
All right, yeah. So it's like the Gen 1 superheroes, and then Gen 2 were the ones that after like 3 years were like, no, we need to get out of here.
Yes.
All right.
I like that.
I like that too. All right, and then the last question is, who wields power here and how do they maintain it? Always important. Yeah, who's in charge? How do things run here? On a helicarrier filled with super powered people.
Maybe
who is in charge?
Maybe it's almost sort of like a, like a council of elders type thing, where it's like the first people who absconded with this ship and started rescuing people before whatever formal, segregation may have happened for the rest of the population, are, the ones in charge. They're like that first superhero team that saved everybody. They're Generation 1 Avengers.
Like, that was kind of my thought.
Coming up here next.
Because then my other thought was like, there's probably like thinking about like day-to-day life on. So like, I'm sure there's like a head mechanic that's on this council, like somebody who's like in charge of keeping the thing flying and or swimming.
Yeah.
Depending on where it is, but like that. Like those people, like there's definitely that needs to be a voice that's heard power wise, because they're literally the ones that are keeping everything afloat. But I like the idea of it being like a first gen,
and that feeds into how they maintain it as well.
Yeah.
And also like along that maintaining power line, like if they're the ones who decide where we go and when, that would be a large component in that.
I like it.
Oh,
yeah, that makes sense.
Too.
I think that's really cool.
So and it could be even people that have like powers that help them with that. Like there's somebody that's like a legally distinct storm that can like read the weather and be like, there's something coming. We need to go underwater and spend some time. Like, I think their actual like superpowers probably tie into it as well. Like based on like what their powers can do for like do the most good for the community as a whole.
And then it's like, how do they choose?
Their name.
What's the transition of power like, Like, when are people like, now this first generation, they're old, they're out of touch. We need people who know how to build new, like, navigating systems on this helicarrier.
God, I so hope one of us pulls the character card that, like, that fits that, like, archetype so perfectly.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So our legally distinct storm is named Squall, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes, of course.
Good old Squall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Squall. And they are awesome. And legally distinct.
Absolutely.
In every way. All right. So that's our isolation. So now we get into the bread and potatoes. Or meat and potatoes, bread and potatoes.
I like bread better, honestly.
I love bread so much. So now we get so now we get to make our characters. So what we're gonna do is y'all can see this little archetype deck. So I'm gonna deal 3 cards to everybody.
Okay, and the audience is just gonna see whatever I see. So.
Yep. So character creation. So you just they're right above your icon. So you just click
thank
them.
you.
So character creation in Dialect is wicked cool. Because basically what it is, and you'll see Sam's are probably on the screen. The character creation is broken down into archetypes. So it's there are things like the leader, the explorer, the innocent, the jester, the ruler, and it's just archetypal examples of things, and then it ties you into the aspects. So it'll be like you relate very strongly to two aspects. You think one aspect is stupid, or you relate to all three aspects. And that's why creating the aspects is so important, because it helps inform who our characters are. And if we want to talk out like what cards we have, or if none of the ones you have are jumping out to you, we can do like a mix and match.
Do we just flip them on our own, or?
Yeah, you can look at them,
Okay.
because then you'll just pick one. I drew like one of my favorite ones, but I
All
wanna play
mine are
something
good.
new.
And I'm just like, what?
Wait,
Like almost all, they're all good. They're like, there isn't a bad choice. It just is like
Wait, do I just?
the ones that.
How do I activate it? I don't understand.
So there's a little 3 above your picture on Roll20.
Yeah.
And if you,
Yep.
the deck, click
So
on
click
that,
that.
and then
They'll all be there,
Okay.
and then you can just
Click
click
on
on them to
them.
make them big.
Okay,
Yeah, so you
weird.
can
It
actually
says
read them.
steal cards, so I.
Oh, are
don't-
you above you? That's weird.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
what happens when I click on yours.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
got it.
make sure you're clicking
Okay,
above you.
Okay.
But yeah, so
You'll
all
it
of the
so-
archetypes are so good and so fun, and it depends on like what fits the narrative we're telling in the world that we've created.
They all fit though.
I made a bet
Well-
to myself what card was going to show up after you were
Mhm.
naming them, Megan,
Yeah.
and I won my bet.
Hey.
What'd you get? Did you get the ruler or the leader?
No,
What'd you get?
the jester.
The
Hey.
Oh, the jester is so fun. I've played the
Oh.
jester.
God.
That one's really good. Yeah, and we can talk these out too, and we can see like what
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm trying.
Ooh.
So
I
I have the
I have an
Scrounger, which is like
Ooh.
something in short supply you work. So that'd be really good for like a mechanic oriented thing. Working on the mechanism,
Ooh.
always worried about if this thing can fly and where. The other one I'm looking at is the Oracle. You
That
know
one's
what's coming
good
for us, and we believe you. At least most of us do.
That's awesome.
I mean, and that literally, that could be literally like, that's your superpower too.
So I was
also
actually
interesting.
thinking, I have a semi-developed idea with that one of being, so identify strong with two aspects. So I'm thinking I could identify with the seclusion, and then I'm thinking my character can only breathe water. So when we're in the air, he's stuck in a tank.
That's awesome.
All right, that could be very interesting. Just don't let it limit your scenes. But I mean, I guess it doesn't have to.
No, you just
Your scene could be
walls
mobile.
make creative things happen.
That's fair.
We could
Yeah,
even,
I said-
even get you a opposite scuba.
Yeah, like a
helmet.
an opposite scuba suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that episode of Futurama.
Oh
Where,
gosh, it's really going back
Yes.
to Bioshock. You're basically an opposite Big Daddy.
Wernstrom.
Wernstrom. Fetch the stick, Peppermint.
What are other people
Or
thinking?
Cinnamon. Cinnamon is the fish's name. Gabe, are you going Jester?
I think I'm gonna go Jester, and I think the power that he have is like duplicating himself so that he can make his own like punchline jokes to himself.
Oh, that's do you want to read the card? Because the language on these cards is like so gorgeous.
Yes, absolutely. So for Jester, we have we need you. We need you to help us laugh through the dark times. People talk to you when they need cheering up. You identify with two of the aspects. You think one of our aspects is ridiculous. It's probably the seclusion. I think that
Oh,
the world needs to hear my entire sense of humor because I'm hilarious. And
my
there's
God, I
plenty
love
of me to go around.
I love it.
given enough time.
Yep.
Let's see. I've got the innocent, ruler, or zealot.
Oh, the Zealot's such a good.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards zealot. I think that could be a
It's
lot of
such a good-
fun.
The Zealot is fun.
Which would be there's a right way for the isolation to live. You know what that way is. You will convince the others. People talk to you about your followers.
Not a cult.
Not a cult. You identify with one of the aspects, you take it much too far. Somehow, I feel like I'm being typecast.
This was a random draw of the cards. The deck was not stacked.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Celestia's not a cult.
It's not a cult. It's a little bit of a cult.
Yeah, because
Definitely cool.
like I got ruler, but if we're doing like the council thing, I feel like that doesn't really fit anyway. Oh no. Any feelings?
I mean, I'm super biased because I think every game I've played with a zealot, and it's just such a good. It makes for such good like RP moments with that kind of a character. So if you're into it, I will support that 100%. The Innocent is also very fun. I've played the Innocent and I've enjoyed it.
Oh man.
But I think I'm gonna go with. So I got. The Artist is one of my favorites, but I've played an Artist, so I think I'm gonna go with Protector. Steadfast and secure, you are the shield that guards the isolation, either from outside or within. People talk to you about safety. You identify with all but one aspect, and you fear the remaining one.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Which I think in this instance could be really cool. Like if I am like my power is like literally making shields and stuff.
That's really awesome.
Or maybe I make things like invisible and I can cloak and I like cloak I think we decided we're gonna call our helicarrier the Nomad because Gabe is brilliant.
That's a really good name, Gabe. I like it.
All
right, I'm gonna go Zealot.
So yeah,
I'm doing it.
Hell yeah,
that just seems so much
so
fun.
We've got. Are you going Scrounger Nat, or are you going Oracle?
I'm thinking I'm leaning Scrounger because I think someone leaning on that more like maintenance mechanic end would be useful from a scene building standpoint.
Yeah, and that could tie in. So if I'm doing the Protector, like that could tie in with my character as well as somebody who just like maybe I'm on the council and I'm like in charge of making sure that everything is like running appropriately. So I could like. So now that we picked, like, this is when we get to like kind of weave stuff together if we want to like figure out who we are together.
Oh man.
The other cool part about character creation, like part of Dialect's character creation is like you name your character obviously, but then you create like an alias that people within the isolation call them. And if we're doing freaking super mutants, then it's just like, what's your superhero name?
I love it.
For better or worse, because the other part that they mention is like this is you pick your name, then you pick like a nickname, and and it can be one that you like or it could be one that you don't like. So that's also very interesting too. But
oh man.
So that's the next part of our character creation is names, but we can also, as we figure out names, and as I make a quick trip to fantasynamegenerator.com, my most favorite website on the internet, we can kind of talk to see how our characters kind of interact and like what our roles are within the society, just to make it easier to set up like scenes and stuff, which is fun.
So like we need like a character name and pretty much what our superhero name and power
basically
would be.
Yeah, basically.
I love this game so much. Gabe, thank you for the mutant theme suggestion.
Yes, thank you for thank you for mutants.
Totally not just living out my own dreams.
Yeah, thank you for letting me live out my best X-Men dreams right now. This is fantastic.
Can we just go around in a circle real quick and say who our favorite X-Men is? Because I feel like you can tell a lot about a person based on who their favorite X-Men is.
Absolutely. Who wants to start? You go first, Megan.
I have two. I
Me
can't
too.
decide. So I have two, and it's Gambit and Nightcrawler.
Aw, those are good choices and really close for me. But Rogue and Shadowcat are definitely my
Shadowcat is my third.
Yeah, my power's gonna be phasing, by the way.
Hell yeah! All right, Nine Gabe, sound off.
This is very important.
I'm not much of an X-Men person.
Aww.
My most vivid X-Men memory was back in the day when I was really little at Chuck E. Cheese. We played the X-Men arcade game.
Yeah, that game was awesome. Who who'd you
I
play?
remember Storm was really good, so I'm gonna say Storm.
She's
mean,
a
Storm
great
is-
character too.
Storm is great.
Like she's.
You know what happens
I
when a
have-
frog gets hit by lightning? Same as anything else.
I'm gonna say Colossus.
Ooh.
Oh, he's good.
Colossus
That's
was
a
cool.
good one,
I
too.
was
It's
gonna say
really cool.
Nightcrawler, and then you said it, so it's like I had to pick something different.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
I love Nightcrawler.
I love
Nightcrawler's so
Nightcrawler, but I specifically love X-Men Evolution's Nightcrawler.
Mm-hmm. I just finished rewatching X-Men Evolution.
Oh my god! Does it hold up? Like, is it still
Yes.
so good?
Yes, it does. Jason, do not take notes. don't use any of this against me. Thank you. Yeah,
Anyway.
X-Men Evolution definitely still holds up.
I love
X-Men
that-
Evolution is what made me fall in love
that
with
show.
Shadowcat as a character. So
Yeah,
very
it was pretty good. That was a good show.
it was. And now I'm gonna figure out a name and what my power is. So I think that my character is on the council,
Ooh,
like head of safety and security or something like
I
that.
think that's
Like
reasonable. I feel like I'm gonna be butting heads with people a lot, but or it's gonna depend on what side of my zealotry y'all.
yeah, well, it
fall
depends on what and it depends on what aspect you take too far.
I think I'm gonna go like full Magneto mode and go live your gift. You know, like we shouldn't like have to hide or anything. You know, people should like see the awesome things we can do and appreciate it. Like I think
Thanks, I love
that's
it.
kind of what I'm going with.
That's awesome.
So I'm definitely
Yeah.
not on the council, but maybe I wanna be.
Mm.
And I'm like trying to sort of
That
angle
tracks.
for the next election or whatever, you know, like maybe it's one of those things where there's the council that's always got the elders voted in, you know? So maybe I'm kind of like that, like, we need a change, and you know what? I think me.
You know who would be awesome for a change?
This person right here.
Be the change you want to see. As in vote for me. Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am being the change I want to see in the Nomad. None of you are thinking big enough.
Right? Exactly. I love it. Yeah, so
None of you are thinking big enough.
that's what I'm
think
thinking
it's-
at least.
I think I've got it all figured out except my name that some people call me.
Your superhero name? Do you know what your power is?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, you know what? You know what's really good for superhero names? A thesaurus.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm gonna make my hero name Carbon.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I make carbon copies.
That's awesome.
Love it.
That
That's really
is
cool.
Love it.
resplendent.
That's really cool. My superhero name's gonna be Spectre because I phase. So
Oh. Love it.
yeah. I think I'm gonna like be really insistent that that's what people use too.
Yep.
You know, live your gifts. That's my
That's true,
like,
yeah.
You know, normie name. Fuck that.
That's
shit.
really good too. Like, do you call anybody by their
Yeah, I
like,
think I'm gonna be
given
that
name?
asshole. Like,
it's like only hero names.
yeah, pretty much. Like, why are you fucking here if that's not what you want to, you know, do?
Ooh.
Why'd you come here if you're not gonna live your gift proudly?
I'm torn between two for my hero name.
Oh, except I'm totally gonna
So-
speak in my bad Canada accent, everybody.
No. Oh no.
So I have two, so I'm just gonna like say them both, and then we're gonna see if anything sticks. So Bastille or Palisade.
Bastille. I like that.
I like Palisade more.
Gabe?
It's always a good old phalanx.
No. I'm gonna go with Palisade because I like the idea of people calling you pal.
Hey, pal.
Oh. That is kind
Steel
of
just makes me
Pal-
think of music.
Oh, I do love Bastille. All right. So that's my, oh, so y'all can grab one of these little, on the Roll20. Are there 4? Let me make a copy. So you can each grab one of these little tents that say example character and like double click them and put your character name and then do like a slash and then your hero name. If you just, if you double click them, you can change them. Just so that we have it out on the board.
Wait, if we're double clicking on what? Sorry, I was trying to figure
the
out
little tent. So these little tents that say example character. I'm moving them about now. Just double click one of them.
Did you already place them in the play area?
Yep, they're in the play area. They're all around. They're around the outside. Around the outside.
I got bottom left.
Why is I didn't even put my, oh, okay.
I don't see a little tent.
Oh, I see one. All right, I'm going to take the bottom right.
I don't see a thing.
No? There should
I'm
be.
Probably just totally missing something.
There's 2 up on the top. So here's one.
Maybe I'm not looking. I don't know.
I don't see that.
There's one on either side of Nomadic Helicarrier up at the top, which I'm actually just going to change this to the Nomad.
Maybe I'm in like the wrong screen.
I think we're on the wrong page.
Yeah.
Are you on the play? So click up at the top, page
play
toolbar,
area,
and do play area. All right. So you probably didn't, because we're all GM, so that people can actually like.
Oh, okay.
See, yeah. So up at the top it says.
I'm not a GM.
So up at the very top, there should be a little thing that says page toolbar.
It's blue.
And if you, it's
I
blue,
don't,
and if
I
you
don't think I
click
have
that,
GM power.
Oh no.
You should.
no.
Press refresh.
Okay.
All right. Was somebody taking the bottom right example character?
I see it.
You can grab it, and I'll grab top right. So.
I don't know why I felt the need to make mine bigger, but I did.
Yeah.
They just seemed really small.
Does that make you feel good?
Lots of things make me feel good, like playing games with good people.
You just need us to put our names?
Yep, just do your character name. Your character name slash your what's its face? Your identity. Superhero name. Yeah. So do select mode, Gabe, I think. If you
I see it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, actually, let me look at this again. So yeah, I identify with all but one, and I fear. What do I fear?
Could fear that we're gonna crash and die.
No, I have confidence in that. I'm in charge of keeping us safe. Ooh. Oh man. Because I don't think. Let's see. I obviously don't fear. Well, now I'm trying to think. Maybe I do fear like the Nomad. Maybe I am afraid that like everything is too tenuous. Like I'm afraid that something's gonna go wrong with it. Because my other option would be being afraid of living our gifts, and I don't know like what that angle is. Like, ooh, actually, you know what? No, I am afraid of living our gifts because there's too many variables with like all of these superpowered people like in one spot. Like, and if everybody's out there just like smoking them if they got them, there's too much that could go wrong and endanger our safety. And I'm only one person.
I like it.
I'm not Carbon. I can't make a bajillion of me to keep everybody safe.
Not everyone can be Carbon.
Not everybody can be Carbon.
But there's enough Carbon for everybody.
That's on the posters when you're trying to run for council.
I don't know if I'd be allowed to run for council because I could just make extra
yourself.
votes.
Oh my
You need some
God.
special addendums to the bylaws.
Serious?
Yeah.
And if you want to stick your character's pronouns on there, we can do that as well, just to make it easy for all of us as we are talking about these people. But my name is Isla, codename Palisade, the Protector, head of safety and security. Yeah. Super afraid of everyone living their best lives. We just gotta be safe. Super afraid of everybody just popping off with their magic powers willy-nilly. All right. So what you can do, so I would say I'm just gonna keep your archetype in your hand, but if you drag the other ones out to the main layer, and you can delete them just to clean up your hand a bit.
Oh, I think I left mine on a different page because I didn't know what I was doing.
That's okay.
And then
How do I get back? I don't know. I'm gonna copy it
hide
and then
that deck.
paste it.
That deck goes away.
Or can I like put it back
And
in my
this deck.
hands? That doesn't seem to be an option. Oh well, whatever. I know
All
where
right,
it is.
So, yeah. All right, so that is all of our world building. This is shaping up to be one hell of a game.
I love it.
One might
so
say
much.
a super game.
Please go home.
Nope.
I am home.
I liked it.
Playing games with all of you is my home.
Aw.
Cute.
Turned it around. So I think we're gonna go take a quick break, and we'll be back here in like 5-10 minutes. So get up, walk around, stretch, drink some water, do what you gotta do, and we'll be back here to start age 1 in 5-10ish minutes.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Welcome back, everyone. And we're gonna enter into our first age. I hesitate to say it's time to get into playing the game because building the world is just as important a facet of the game as the rest of the game is. So we are entering our first age. First, think we're going to go around now that we have established our world and our isolation and decided our character archetypes. We're going to just do some quick elevator pitches of our characters just to bring everybody onto the same page as to who we are going to be playing. So we're going to do character name, so given name, superhero name, pronouns, what you do on the Nomad, and what your superpowers are. And I guess I'll start. So I am playing Isla, who is the protector archetype. Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, we can go over our archetypes. So I'm playing the protector archetype, who believes in the nomad and evolution through seclusion in fears living our gifts, because it's just too hard to keep everybody safe if everybody is out there living their gifts, which will be totally fine interacting with Sam's character. She uses she, her pronouns. Her superhero name is Palisade. And her superpower is, I think she is able to create like force fields and barriers to protect things. So yeah, and she is the head of safety and security on the council of the Nomad. So that's me. So let's go down to Nat.
Hi.
Nat, who?
So my character is Cedric Atkins, because that's what's on my name tag. But he goes by Seti to basically everyone. His name, that only some people call him, is Servo. He provides the power that keeps the Nomad operational. Not a huge fan of that, but it does get spread around. And his power is kind of it's a little vague, but stay with me for a second. I call it precision. So not only can he like always do exactly what his hands he wants to, but he can see it all in his head, exactly how the things operate and what he needs to do. But the problem with that is that because he's always been this way, he doesn't get people who make mistakes or have accidents, and so he can be a little frustrated with other humans sometimes, which often obviously creates a lot of tension when he's the engineer mechanic on the council, because he's kind of hard to talk to.
And what archetype are you?
Oh, I'm the Scrounger. I am linked to the Nomad in that I do a lot of maintenance on it. And he living his gifts, he very much, I'm this way. You don't hate on me. This is how I live. And the scarcity that he fights is like parts, repairs, things like that, which is from the evolution through seclusion. He doesn't hate that, but it is at odds with what he does.
Awesome. Cool. I love it. Sam, who are you playing?
I am playing Ella, who does not go by Ella. Strictly goes by Spectre, which is my chosen name. I have the ability to phase, so I can pass through solid objects. They go they, them, pronouns. I think my role for the Nomad is I'm a scout who, like, when we settle down somewhere, it's kind of like I go to make sure, like, things are okay, because I have such an easy time sort of getting away from any possible trouble. I'm really good at sort of, I can, like, still stand on a surface, but, like, let a bullet phase through me or something like that without, like, falling through the floor. So I'm a good person to sort of send out and do that. I am the Zealot archetype, so I very strongly believe in live your gifts. Some people might say a little bit too much, but, what do they know? Why are they here?
Exactly. This will be fine. And
this is
Gabe,
fine.
who are you playing? Yeah, this is totally fine. We're not a cult. Everything is fine.
I am playing Owen, whose hero name is Carbon. He uses he, him, and he is the jester archetype. His power is duplication. He very much like is for living the gifts. It's basically just him. There's just a bunch of him, and the Nomad's an easy place to live because it's very easy for him to get to know everybody. That's more of his thing. He if he needs to be in two places at once, he actively can, and then he can just talk it out with, oh, this happened, really? That's insane, but interesting. So he is a people person, but he's a people's people. But he does think that evolution through seclusion is ridiculous because they're just people. We could just do more things than some others, but that doesn't make us better per se.
Oh, this is gonna go really well. All right, so now that we are entering into age 1, how the gameplay works now that we are in the thick of it. Gameplay is super easy. I'm going to deal right now 3 cards from the age 1 deck to everybody. So the way that the rest of this game is going to work is for each age, each person is going to play 1 card. We'll go, there's no distinct order. It's just if we figure out an order that we like to go in, if people have ideas for them. So somebody will play a card which has a prompt on it. We will use that prompt to collectively create a word based on that prompt. Once we decide on the word, we'll add the language item to our age board, and whoever played the card will then pick characters out of the 4 of us to RP out a scene in which this word is used. So we're going to be playing out the life of our isolation through these scenes, and everyone will play 1 card, and then we transition into the next age, and we do that 2 more times. So tonight we're hoping to get through age 1, which I don't foresee us having an issue with. So I've dealt everybody's cards. I'm going to look at my own. So there's no set order in these. It's kind of whatever kind of story we want to tell, or we'll just talk amongst ourselves to determine what we want to go first, and then we'll go from there. So does anybody have anything that would make a good opening scene? Because I have greeting, which could be a interesting one. So it's how we greet one another, small rituals to open conversation that reflect who we are. It may differ based on who we say it to and when we say it. So that's like the prompt for creating our word, and then the prompt for the scene is meeting in an unexpected place. For once again, I love the language on these cards. They're written so beautifully. They're all so really good. Cool. So we can do that as our first word, unless anybody has something that works a little better as a first scene.
Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, Blondie. Nope, Pat Benatar. So I'm going to play it on the screen so y'all can see it, but so now what we do is we just kind of workshop and figure out what this means for life on the Nomad. Like, what is our greeting? How do we greet each other? What does that look like?
Isn't there a step before that?
Nope. You just make the word. I mean, there might be, but let's see. What are rules? Oh, you can oh, that's right. We connect it to one of the aspects, which I'm pretty sure the aspect is going to end up being the Nomad, but I usually like to connect it like after we've made it, just to see if fits. But I think that's probably where it's going to end up being. So like what does this look like? Like how do we say hi to each other? Like
Like, is it something where, since we're kind of fleeing, like, a militant or military type background, do we want to, like, actively avoid anything that has, like, a sort of, I don't know, hierarchical, like, scale of greeting or something, you know? Because, like, we're on a ship. Someone's got to be piloting the thing. We've got the council making decisions, so it's like, do we want to avoid rank or, you know, that kind of
right?
Is it
or
formally
is there,
informal?
Like,
yeah.
Right, or is this something that's like a hello, but then also a hi? Like, is there something that's like a greeting, and then there's like a much more like colloquial, familiar way of doing it? So depending on who you're greeting, shows like a little bit of respect, but not like an extremely formal type thing. So we are on a ship. This is the fun part. And by fun, I mean the part where you just sit there and you're like, I have never heard a single word in my life.
Evo.
Like, how do you words?
Right, like I'm trying to think of, like, can I make a portmanteau of, you know, something maybe?
Or is there like a word or a phrase? Like, is there some kind of like
Evo.
guy? Like,
So it's Evo, you're saying? EVO?
Like the EVO, like almost evolution, but then just Evo.
Funnily enough, that's the one I had in mind for a card in my hand.
Hey!
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So like,
That's
so this
absolutely
is
in a right neighborhood.
Yeah, so like we'd walk into a room, see each other, and go, Evo.
Yep.
Like
Evo.
that. It could be like, is it like goodbye too?
No, well, it's a greeting. I mean, it could, like, if we want to make it like an aloha type thing where it is hello and goodbye, then like this is our dialect. Like we can do whatever we want with it.
Because it could literally just be a word replacing like Evo, everyone. Let's have a wonderful meeting today. Like what is
right? Yeah, like and that is what we're looking for, is something that you can say in passing, or you can say to start a meeting, like things like that. Like I do like that.
I think it works well.
Yeah. And like the cool thing, like this backdrop is like a little different because like there are some backdrops where it's like this isolation has existed for a very, very long time. So that you can be like, oh, we forgot where the root of this came from. But I like that it's coming from like, and that's, I feel like some of the best stuff like you're supposed to like pull from things where it's like, if evolving and evolution is like such a big part of our life, it would make sense that something as basic as, or something as day to day as a greeting, is pulled from that.
Could also connect it to more like the don't get left behind when we move kind of concept.
Like a survival of the fittest type deal.
No, just like
literal evolution.
Yeah, it could be like a little phrase or something, or come from a phrase. Just basically like, I would miss you if you got left behind, something like that.
You know, like evolution is what bonds what bonds these people.
Hold on to that thought that you just said, because I have another card. I have Term of Endearment in my hand, and I think that would be really cool to revisit that idea later on as like a term of endearment. Would be really cool.
Fair enough.
So
you want to do Evo? It is.
Yeah. I do have final say. I am the decider.
Yeah.
No, I do like that. So what we do then is we're gonna make a copy of this language item. I'm gonna put it up by the nomad. And put it on our playscape. All right. So now we have a conversation. So we'll RP a scene, and the goal of the scene is to either use the word or make a point to not use the word. So technically I get to pick who is in it, but sometimes like when things pop out to me, it's like, yes, this is a scene I want to see between this person and this person, but this early in the game, it's kind of like loosey-goosey. So the prompt for the scene is meeting in an unexpected place. So what do we think this unexpected place is? And then that could inform who is in the scene, I think, is how I want to attack it. Is what's interesting as like a unexpected place people would be meeting.
Could be off the carrier, you know, if we landed somewhere and you don't expect to run into people when you're not on the nomad.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
That makes sense.
That's kind of cool.
Because with age 1, this is early in the isolation too, right?
Yeah, this is still like it becomes less and less isolated as the game goes on. But yeah, age 1, like this is where it's like things are great. Everything is working exactly how it's supposed to be working.
Okay.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah. But I mean, if we do something like off the carrier, all right. So if the nomad is just
so like we don't have fuel to like fly all the time, right? So we hop.
Right, yeah,
right?
we do have to land. So this could be interesting to do. So if it's off the carrier, my first thought is that this is something I think Spectre should be in, as somebody that goes out and scouts. And then as it's an unexpected place, I'm trying to think of who among the rest of us would be least likely to be off of the carrier. Yeah, that was my thought too.
Me or you, I think.
Oh, yeah, me, yeah.
Because you're in charge of keeping it safe, so when you're not there, that's a...
Right. So what circumstances would lead either of us to be off the carrier, and whatever one is more interesting is what we're going to go with.
Maybe there's a safety concern off the
carrier. I feel like I could more easily justify Isla being off the carrier, which makes it almost more interesting if SETI is off the carrier.
You can just dump SETI off the carrier and I'll make up a reason to be there. That's fine.
Get off. Maybe you're out like looking, maybe you need to find, like you're a scrounger, like you could be off trying to find something.
Yeah, if I pick 87 of these specific flowers and then grind them up, we can augment our fuel and get in another 4 miles.
Right. Awesome. All right. So I think that's the scene. So I think the scene is Spectre is like scouting, like they're off doing some reconnaissance as they do. And for some reason or another, some point, you either SETI finds you or you find him.
If I may I suggest?
Of course.
I think Spectre sees SETI in a field carrying a sandbag.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. So that's what we'll do. So we will do the scene, and then once you feel that it is done, then it's done, and we go on to the next word. But yeah, so that's the setup. So
All right.
take it away, and make sure you use the word.
I know. I'm like, this is gonna happen like right away because it's a reading.
Yeah. Hey, that makes it easy, and then you can just
That's-
enjoy the scene.
That's true.
That's by design.
No pressure.
All right. So Spectre will sort of approach from behind, and call out, Evo, Servo, what are you doing out here alone so far?
He jumps and drops the bag.
Oh, sorry. Here. I'll come over and like help. You should be paying better attention though.
I was doing math.
For what? What are you out here for?
He checks a watch. 21 seconds. And he takes the sandbag and drags it 2.7 feet to the left and then says, you should stand to the right.
I will do so because I feel like I'm probably used to this by now.
And he looks at you and squints for a moment. Evo. Sorry.
No, it's all right. You were doing math. What's you didn't say yet though. Really, what you're.
And then you hear like a bang as in the distance the nomad backfires and a chunk of metal slams into the sandbag.
Was that what you were?
Can't waste the materials.
Okay. All right. How much longer are you gonna be out here for?
It'll take me about 4 minutes to walk back.
All right. How far'd you go?
It took me about 4 minutes to get here.
You didn't go further? All right. Just making sure. You know. Just doing my rounds. You know, we haven't been here too long, so just gotta make sure. Can't be too careful, just in case.
He blinks at you. I'm going to walk for 4 minutes now. And he reaches down, picks up the sandbag, and begins trudging back towards the nomad.
I just stare after him and like shake my head and we'll slink back through the field to keep doing my rounds.
Awesome.
Oh, Servo.
Servo. I love him already.
I told you he was hard to talk to.
So it's gonna be great.
I love it.
Awesome. Let me show this. So sorry. I'm drawing another card. Nope, come in my hand. All right, so we have successfully created our first word. Go us.
Proud.
Yay! I'm so
We did
proud
it.
of us.
Yay.
Go
And now
team.
it's all downhill from here. Now we're pros. So
Yeah.
who
Doesn't that
wants
mean-
to go next?
You want to go, Nat? Are you still thinking?
Oh no, I don't want to go next. I need time to
I
think.
want to go.